JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 24th of June 2020, so yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Wednesday's morning session where we're going to have a quick look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest, and we can continue. Okay, now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos. And of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Also, let's have a look at what's happening here globally in terms of the coronavirus. Now, we can see that the figure continues to rise, and again, different sources provide different information. Now, other sources do show a number of 9,300,000 and something. So yep, unfortunately the figure continues to rise. Same leaderboard, if we can call it that way, remains the same. So yep, US, Brazil and United Kingdom are leading the way with total amount of deaths. Now then, jumping into the charts, let me just quickly okay, so I've closed that by accident. Let me just quickly, guys, open up the chart. There we go. This is what happens when it lags a little bit. Now then, just bear with me one moment. So the first one will be not DXY, but it will be a Nikkei 225. Now this is a quick update on what's happening here. I've talked about this index yesterday, and basically, as you can see, today Nikkei closed kind of virtually unchanged, I would say, although just fractionally in the red territory. But the most important thing is that it stayed below this barrier, below this 22,624 territory that I keep talking about in my previous videos. I kept talking about in my previous videos. Basically, we are still waiting. We are still waiting for this push above the 22,624 zone, and then we could aim for higher levels, because as you can see, yesterday we did have a nice move higher. However, it failed to stay above this barrier and closed kind of and drifted lower and kind of still closed below this level. This level, by the way, is the high of the 16th of June, and as you can see, kind of continues to act as a nice area of resistance. So that's why we would prefer to wait for a nice good break, and ideally a daily close above that area in order to aim for higher levels. Now, both of these upside lines are a bit tentative. I do understand it's a little bit kind of in the way right now. Here, for example, this upside line taken from the low of the 19th of March, but let's keep it for now. Basically, I'm keeping those just because to see how this would go if, let's say, if both of these get broken, and if the rate starts falling below this little area right here. So in a way, if both of these upside lines get broken, then maybe it could strengthen the idea kind of a possible downside. But again, for now, it is where it is. Like I said, let's keep an eye on the 22,624 territory. A nice good strong push above this could, yep, open the door towards the highs of June. And of course, I do have a little level here, but let me just adjust this very quickly. So the highest point of June is roughly around here, so near the near the 23,185 territory. So roughly around there. We'll keep an eye on that one. And like I said, if we do get a nice strong push above the 22,624 territory, yes, the next target for us is the current highest point of June near the 23,185 zone. In terms of the downside, as I said, we need to see a break of this these two upside lines, and ideally a drop below the 22,125 territory, because at the same time, if we do see a drop below this, this would also place the price below the 21-day EMA here, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in. Now then, DAX, jumping into DAX. Now here, the situation is a little bit better, I would say, because as you can see, the index yesterday managed to close, managed to push first of all, and then managed to close above the 12,484 territory, which is marked by the high of the 18th of June. And I talked about this one yesterday. So in a way, this kind of creates a slightly more bullish atmosphere here. However, looking at the cash index and where it's currently balancing at, it's currently just sitting bang on this level. And of course, if we continue to trade above this area, then yes, the next target for us is the current highest point of June near the 12,913 zone. And of course, then we'll take it from there. We'll be very careful, because we want to see how it's going to perform near this key area of resistance. Not only that we have the current highest point of June here, we also have the lowest point of let me just double check this very quickly. That's the low of the 3rd of February. The low of 3rd of February near the 12,974 territory as well. So keep your eyes on that area. But like I said, all this this area here could be a very nice area, a very nice resistance level or resistance zone, which could get tested. But for now, basically, the main focus here is to keep an eye on the 12,484 zone. If the price continues to balance above it, then yes, we could aim for higher levels. If it starts falling back below this area, yes, we'll keep an eye on some of these levels. However, for us to maybe get excited with, let's say, a larger extension to the downside, or I would say a larger correction to the downside, because don't forget that even if we see a drop lower here, still, as long as this upside line stays intact, we will continue aiming higher, because the current overall trend here is still to the upside. I mean, and I'm talking about the trend from the mid-March. But as I said, for us to consider maybe slightly lower levels, we would prefer to see a drop below the 12,133 territory and then aim for that upside support line. This territory here, in between these two levels, will be somewhat of a neutral one for us. Jumping into FTSE 100 here now, this one is pushing higher nicely, so it continues to trade above this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low of the 23rd of March. As I've mentioned before in my previous videos, where I was covering the FTSE 100 index, I was telling you guys to keep an eye on the 6,310 territory, which marks the high of the 17th of June. And as you can see, lately, I mean, we had the index was struggling to overcome that area. However, yesterday it closed just fractionally above that area, this way kind of creating an opportunity for more bulls. If we look at the cash index right now and where it's currently balancing at, the price has declined a little bit and is back below the 6,310 zone, and is currently balancing near the 6,285 territory, but basically still remains above this short-term upside support line taken from the low, the 23rd of March. So what we're going to do here is we're going to keep an eye on this upside line, but if the price somehow starts falling, starts breaking this upside line and falls below the 6,231 zone, maybe not all is good here in the bull block, and we could see a bit of declines here going towards the 5,961 territory here, which, as you can see, acted as a very nice area of support back around mid-June and the end of May. But again, for now, guys, we are still looking at the cash index. We are still above this upside support line, so in a way, there is still a chance for the bulls to push this one higher. But we're not going to drag this one too much to the upside. First, as I said, this similar story as with the DAX, we will aim for the current highest point of June near the 6,512 territory. Gold. Now, gold had a spectacular move yesterday, so, or wouldn't maybe say a spectacular, but a good move yesterday. It pushed, it not only managed to stay above this 1748 zone, because as you can see, it drifted lower, tested this area initially, and then reversed and pushed higher and closed the day not only above this 1748 zone, but also above this 1763 level that I kept talking about. And of course, all this kind of creates this nice bullish atmosphere. For now, we will continue aiming for the upside, and the next target for us, as I've mentioned before, is the highest point of 2012 near the 1795-96 zone, roughly around there. Basically, that's going to be the target. Of course, understandably, that slightly above that we do have that psychological 1800 level, which also could be a nice target. But first, let's keep an eye on this highest point of 2012, and then we'll take it from there. But again, for now, we are leaning a little bit more to the upside. Even if, let's say, by any chance, this decides to reverse lower and drifts to the downside, as long as it stays above this 1748 zone, we'll still remain somewhat positive. And yeah, we'll continue targeting higher levels. But again, that's in the scenario if we do get maybe a move, a strong move back below the 1763 zone, because like I said, then yes, we'll keep an eye on the 1748, because if this area continues to provide support, another round of buying could be possible. Now, in terms of the downside, we would, given that we've shifted a little bit more to the upside here, we could keep an eye, previously I talked about the 1708 zone, but we could keep an eye on the 1723 area as well. Just basically, this is a little bit more maybe on the risky side. If we see a nice good daily close below this, yep, maybe further declines are going to be possible, but still probably the more comfortable level for us would be from here, from around the midpoint of this previous range, which is roughly around the 1708 zone. And then we could target the lower side of the previous range here, near the 1670 territory. So we'll keep an eye on that one. Quick update here on Brent oil. Now here I've removed all the lines, but basically, as I've mentioned to you on Monday, we were waiting for a nice pop above this 40 oh sorry, it's not Brent oil. Let me just quickly pick up on Brent oil, guys, because I've clicked on WTI by accident here. So let me just quickly get this one back on track. And yes, so with Brent oil, there we go, there these are the lines here. So I've talked about this level here, the 43.40 zone, which kind of marked the previous highest point of June. Yesterday we saw a nice pop above that level, above the 43.40, but as I was mentioning to you before, we needed to see a nice daily close above this area, but as you can see, we did pop above it, but still closed the day in the red and closed below this 43.40 zone. Today, this morning, the commodity is still balancing above this short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low this 22nd of April, which could be seen as a nice positive thing. However, it's struggling with this barrier right here, so that's why we'll remain very careful here. If by any chance this upside line breaks and the price starts falling below these remaining EMAs, the 100-day EMA and the 21-day EMA, then yep, further declines could be possible. However, as I mentioned before, the more comfortable level after a break of which we could consider lower areas would be somewhere from around here, from the 36.96 level marked by the high of the 21st of May and near the low of the 12th of June. Such a move would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and maybe yep, more sellers could be joining in here. However, I do understand that we're missing out on a bit of a territory here. But as I've mentioned before to you guys, what we don't want to see here is a potential kind of range forming. So that's why if it drops below the subside line, yes, it could drift a little bit lower. You could in a way aim for this level here, for this 36.96, but to be honest, it could be a very tricky situation here, and that's why we prefer to wait for a drop below the 36.96 level and then aim for lower levels. Ethereum looking quite positive, I say, even better than Bitcoin or Ripple, and it is now approaching its key resistance barrier near the 252.50 zone, which was tested in June here, in the beginning of June, and this is basically the highest point of March, which the crypto kind of struggled to overcome. But now, as you can see, it's approaching again this area. So we'll see how this is going to perform here, because as you can see, this level here, the 227.50 zone, acts as a very nice area of support. Previously that was marked by the highest point of April, so the highest point of April did provide a good support here, from which the crypto rebounded on Monday here sharply to the upside, getting back above the subside support line taken from the low the 13th of March, and is now, like I said, approaching this key resistance barrier. So we'll see how it's going to behave here. If we do get a nice daily close above this area, above the 252.50 zone, then yep, higher levels could be met, because this would confirm a forthcoming higher high. Jumping into a few pairs, AUD and ZD, this one's popping higher this morning. You can see we are already accelerating nicely to the upside. And let me just clear up this chart a little bit, because let me just refresh everything and start again. So basically, after last week, after finding support near this level here, near the 1.0582 zone, the pair started kind of moving higher here. It did correct a little bit lower at the end of last week, but then this week, in the beginning of this week, it kind of was stalling here and kind of showing willingness to move higher. And today, yes, we are seeing a nice explosion here to the upside. The pair is moving above this key resistance barrier near the 1.0728 zone, and of course, if it does stay here today above this area, then of course it increases its chances to move further north towards the current highest point of June near the 1.0880 zone. So we'll keep an eye on this one. As I said, for now, all eyes are on this little level right here, the high of the 10th of June, and also near the 16th of June. If it manages to stay above this 1.0728 zone, then yes, of course, like I said, higher levels could be met here. If it does close, let's say close the daily candle below it, well, maybe we'll stay on the neutral side a little bit, because again, for us to consider lower levels, well, we would prefer to wait at least for a drop below the current lowest point of this week near the 1.0630 zone, and then we could aim for further declines. But again, for now, it seems that the downside could be slightly off the table. But again, let's keep an eye on this 1.0728 zone. Quick update on USDCHF. I talked about this pair yesterday, and yesterday we managed to violate this level here, the 0.9460 zone. This is what I was talking about in my videos previously, where I was covering USDCHF, and I was telling you guys that if this area gets broken and we see a daily candle closing below the 0.9460 territory, then yes, further declines are possible, at least maybe towards the current lowest point of June near the 0.9376 level, and then we'll take it from there, because we want to see how this is going to behave. If this area actually does provide good support, then we could see this one rebounding and pushing higher. In this case, we would get ourselves a nice wide range. However, for now, from the very short-term perspective, we are targeting this this level right here, the current lowest point of June, near the 0.9376 level. And yep, for now, like I said, it's not looking good here on USDCHF. It's not looking good here for the bulls. GBPCAD, quick update here. I talked about this one yesterday, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier right here, the 1.6845 zone, because yesterday, basically, I was saying that we closed the previous candle on Monday. We closed the Monday candle above it, so this kind of increased the for this pair to drift higher, and this is what I was talking about yesterday. Basically, then I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1.6845 territory, which, if continues to provide support, could could help the bulls kind of step in here and drive this one higher. However, this move higher could still be seen as a temporary correction before another leg of selling, because don't forget that we're still trading below this downside line taken from the high of the 1st of May. So in a way, any move higher here up until this downside line could still kind of signal a possible reversal back to the downside here. So that's why the bears the bears are probably keeping an eye here somewhere for the rate to kind of waiting for the rate maybe to rise a little bit higher here and then step in. As I said, if this downside line continues to provide resistance, yes, we could see another round of selling. Euro NZD, now this one's the next one I wanted to jump into, and here basically similarly like with AUD NZD, the pair is trying to make its way higher, and basically there we are seeing some weakness here in the New Zealand dollar. So let me just clear up this chart a little bit. Now, of course, as I've mentioned previously when I looked at NZDUSD, this is the level that we're keeping a close eye on, the 1.758990 zone, or we can actually round it up towards the 1.7590 zone. That's basically the lowest point of May, which, as you can see previously in June here, in the beginning of June, acted as a very nice area of resistance. We did get a few overshoots, however, we failed to close a daily candle above it. So now it seems that the pair does want to get another attempt of testing this area. For now, we'll probably stay a little bit cautious, because don't get me wrong, although it is pushing higher here, it's trying to make its way higher, still there is a bunch of it's currently finding very good resistance near this 200-day EMA and the 21-day EMA as well. So that's why a nice good strong move above the 1.7590 zone could do the trick here for more buyers, and yep, maybe then we could start aiming for the high of 29th of May near the 1.7982 area. Until then, we're just gonna probably take a bit of a neutral stand and observe the price action. But as I said, this is the level that we're looking at in order to consider a bit of upside. In terms of the downside, but if this by any chance starts reversing sharply to the downside and falls below the current lowest point of this week near the 1.3330 zone, then yes, the next little target is of course the current lowest point of June near the 1.7190. But if that gets broken, well, I mean, a forthcoming lower low, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and yep, further declines could be possible towards the lowest point of February of this year, and yep, near the 1.6885 zone. But again, for now, like I said, we are keeping an eye on this 200-day EMA together with the 21-day EMA, but probably the more important level is the 1.7589. So let's round it up, 1.7590 territory. And finally, Euro USD. So this one and managed to push nicely to the upside yesterday, stayed above this downside line, but failed to move above the high of 16th of June near the 1.1353. I talked about this level yesterday, and for now, to be honest, looking at this picture, there is still a possibility for the pair to move higher, but like I said, we would like to see a nice good push above this 1.1353 territory, and then we could continue with the upside. Of course, don't get me wrong, we do have strong resistance levels around here, but that's why we're going to keep it short and simple. Like I said, we'll go step by step on this one, but for now we are keeping an eye on this 1.1353 territory. Let's see if the pair does manage to move higher. With the downside here, let me just get rid of this little short-term downside line. With the kind of the scenario of examining lower levels, we would actually prefer to wait maybe for a drop somewhere below the 1.1168 zone, and then kind of consider some lower levels. So for now, it is trying to make its way higher, so let's see if it can overcome today the 1.1353 level. So guys, I hope you found it useful, and thank you very much for watching and listening. If you wanna catch my video later on, my traders tea time, as always, 13:15 GMT, guys. For now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye.